Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Hi, Jen. I'm good. How are
I
you
think that
today?
was like the giddiest hello. I'm great. I'm excited to I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've actually like recorded.
It's been a
I miss
while.
seeing your face. And
Ditto.
I did my guest ones, which I loved that so much, but you weren't there.
I know you did great. And I think we're going to continue to get people who want to be a part of this conversation, which I'm excited about
Well, I mean, were you jealous? Did you feel left out of our conversations?
a little bit.
Do you want to join next time? I'm sure there's room for three on here.
I don't know.
It would turn into like a group therapy session. Be like, let's what do we do?
What about this? No, I do. I love just getting to hear other people's stories. And I think you're a great host. So I think that's important for it to be clear like who's hosting,
Thank
who's
you.
participant. I'm hype girl.
Hype girl. You are a hype girl with a side of therapy.
I will tell you, I am in my therapy office while we record today, and I have my podcast microphone. And so when we're not recording, I just like put it on my shelf.
Uh-huh.
And I've had a few patients. They're like, "Do you have a podcast?" I'm like, "I do not. I
You do.
participate. I participate. I'm an active participant." And so, anyways, it was super cute. And they're like, "So like I could find it?"
You're like, is it a
Yes,
kid?
absolutely could. You've heard me talk a lot today. Are you sure you wanna hear me?
But if you're just eager for more, hit up YouTube,
Yes, we
Spotify, all the
will.
places.
Yeah.
All right. So today we are talking about, gosh, I don't even now I'm just thinking of her name instead of how to verbalize what we're discussing. I guess people's expectation of our grief. Is that
Yes.
a good way to put it? Okay.
Yes.
So this actually came to me from somebody I follow on Instagram. It was just a thought, and Liz and I were discussing it. And I was like, wait, why are we discussing this? Let's record it. So if anyone is familiar with Allison Holker, I hope I said her name right, and Twitch, who, if you watch So You Think You Can Dance, or I think she's now judging Dancing with the Stars. I haven't watched that in years, but I'm pretty sure she's judging. Or is she choreographing?
She's been affiliated with the show over time. I don't know if she's got a
It
role
seems
this
like,
season, but absolutely she's been a part of they were both very famous dancers through So You Think You Can Dance.
yeah.
He was a DJ on the Ellen Show.
I love him.
They're yeah, just both amazing people.
They're
We don't know them personally, but we love you both.
I do though. I have watched enough Instagram videos. No, I'm just kidding. I fell in love with Twitch on So You Think You Can Dance. Twitch and Carrington. I like remember that season like it was yesterday. This is not related to the podcast, but I'm going to tell you guys this story. So I paid to go see them on tour. They came to Orlando,
I'm so
and
jealous.
yes, I could like see them live. And like, guys, I was over the moon for Twitch. Like, I was like, I need to see this guy dance in person. I love this so much. He sprained his ankle, I think it was, in rehearsals the day before, and he didn't.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I am so
I'm
sorry.
actually still recovering from it. So, but yes, I was like heartbroken. I was like, "Can I have a refund? Like the rest of you are great, but like
Yeah, I didn't wanna see anyone else.
I was here for Twitchington, which is like what their combo was called between Twitch and Carrington. They were just like, oh, phenomenal together." Okay, sorry. For those of you that have no idea who this is, you can look them up on Insta. But Twitch died by suicide. Oh my god, I should have looked this up before we got on, but maybe last year. I don't think it's has it been more than a year, do you think? You can
I'm
probably
gonna
look
tell you.
it real quick. I don't think it's been a year, mainly
It's
because
been I don't wanna be the person to share this, but it'll actually be 2 years, December 13th.
the time flies. Time flies. So 2 years. Um, Gosh, coming up. Okay, so I did know it was during the holidays. I know it is also like the weekend after him and Allison's anniversary, and right before Christmas.
Mhm.
So she several months ago kind of like soft launched a new relationship. Like, I want to say the first thing, at least that I saw, was a picture of a shadow of like her holding hands with someone. So you didn't know who it was, but it was like, hey, I'm in a relationship. And I was over the moon. I was like, oh my God, I am so happy. Like, I've still followed their family. Their kids are just like, I love her. And I had such, and maybe like a different kind of sympathy than I would have had prior to William dying by
Yeah,
suicide. But
absolutely.
I was heartbroken for her. Like, I was heartbroken over, even though I didn't know Twitch, but like that in general. But like for her as the wife and mother of their kids, like
Right.
having to move forward with that weight. And so when I saw she like found somebody new, I was just like, oh my God, like I feel like that means she's healing.
Mm.
She's able to like I just thought it was amazing for so many. I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know why. I can't even really verbalize, but I was so like my heart got so warm for her. I was like, oh my God, like this makes me so happy for you. I don't know you, but I love this.
Yeah.
And then go to the comment section. And then America disappoints us. Okay.
Sometimes you don't, America. Sometimes your comments are great, but this, not good.
Mm. No, no. And there were some people that were like, I love this and defended her. Like I did not, I don't pipe up on the gram comments, but there were just people judging her like, oh, this is too soon. Basically, every negative comment was about the timeline of it. And it was just like,
Mm.
who are you to say that this is too soon? What's not? What's your deadline? Like how
Right.
long does she have to wait before she's
What's
allowed
your
to love
deadline?
somebody again? Yeah, like it's just
Right.
okay, so how long does she have to, at least to you, grieve his loss before she can move on?
Right.
And that like just so many things in my brain of also like just because she's found somebody else does not mean she's not still grieving his loss. And like she
Right.
can love somebody while she it was just so it frustrated me so much. Like it got under my skin and I was just like, I'm way too invested. Way too invested in this person who doesn't know that we're best friends. And I just in her love life that like I didn't even know who she was dating. But
Sure.
it got my brain just turning on this whole expectation of how somebody should act after they lose someone.
Sure.
Do you have anything to say, or would you like me to keep talking? I just don't want to keep running my mouth.
Oh, I
Nothing.
think I think it's very important context for what we were gonna talk about, that when other people know you've been through loss
Mhm.
and could potentially be grieving, somehow they have opinions about it. And so depending on your circle and the people in your life, you may feel like that's in alignment with what is helpful for you. You might feel supported by people and their opinions, or you might feel bombarded by them, or annoyed or frustrated. And so I think that was kind of where you were going with this, is it's not for us to say.
Yeah, 100%. I just feel like the judgment, and I've seen it in my personal life time and time again, that people who go through divorce or go through whatever it is, and it's the second they find someone new, which like divorce, I would still consider a huge grief. Like
Mhm.
it's not, it's a loss in a sense. Like, yeah, they're alive. It's very
Yeah.
different. But there's a lot of trauma and grief that'll go along with several divorces. And the opinions of others of when it's okay to be with someone new. And I think that has to weigh so heavy on the person in that situation because it's like, wow, I'm so happy with someone, but then you feel like you can't be happy or you can't be happy in public.
Mm.
Or like,
Or
I
can't
truly
hear
wonder,
it.
yeah, like I wonder how long they were together before she felt comfortable sharing it. Cause what I can guarantee is that that wasn't week one. And so like,
Yeah.
and good for her. She did it when she felt comfortable, and that was the right thing to do. Whatever she wanted to do was the right thing to do. And literally no one has a say in what that timeline could look like for her.
Mm. Mhm.
And that's for anybody. But it is like
Mhm.
everyone wants to have an opinion on what they think is acceptable or how somebody should be processing things. And it's wild to me. It's like, God, there was something recently where I can't remember, somebody lost somebody, but then was dating someone new within like a month. Not, but like they didn't lose a spouse. It was just like, it would be like if I was single, William died, and then I like started dating someone the month after.
Mhm.
And like the judgment of like, how are you in a place to date somebody? And it's like, why is that any of your business?
Right.
Like, why?
Well, and I think, we're talking about individuals who are very famous and their life is
Mhm. Like,
probably painfully exposed to the world,
Mhm.
right? And so then a lot of people have opinions.
Yeah.
And where I think this impacts regular individuals who aren't necessarily famous is we still have this happen on a smaller scale, and it can make it very confusing about how you know what you're supposed to feel, what you're supposed to do. And this whole complex experience of grief is going to be different depending on the situation you're in and the type of person you are. And I think it's something that I hope we can invite people in to be curious about and say, if you're grieving, it's okay to grieve and also pursue new things, whether that's relationships, hobbies, activities, people. If you are friends or family members with someone who is grieving, be curious. If they're doing something new, is that because they just now have the energy or bandwidth
Mm,
to do it versus leading with judgment? And I think that is counterintuitive. Most humans have an initial thought or reaction like, I
yeah,
wouldn't do that, or I can't believe this. And if we could really shift that to curiosity, like, I wonder how that's benefiting them, or I wonder what this means to them. You can stay in relationship, because when you lead with judgment, people become defensive and they're like, okay, well, now I don't want to share anything with you.
yeah,
I
that's so
don't know.
true.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think you're right because I do think, like, as humans, you're going to have your initial reaction, and depending on who you're around. Now, I'm not defending anyone on Instagram because you had time to think and type, but like in our real daily life, if I'm sitting with a group of my girlfriends,
Mhm,
like, yes, I would hope that they have the trust and vulnerability and freedom in our friendship to like just voice the first thing that comes into their head of like that's too soon or whatever. But then I would also hope that once they realize what they said and think about it, that they're open-minded enough to realize, okay, well, I guess maybe that's just like a stigma or societal thing, but like what do I
yeah,
really think that's too soon? And who am I to think that? And like start thinking it
mhm,
through and be like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's not, and it's my place to think that. Kind of like backtrack and be open to
mhm,
like the
mhm.
thought that it's really not your place to know, like to
Yeah,
judge that. So I 100%, I think the curiosity and kind of training our brains to
mhm,
start doing that, and
mhm,
in general, because I think there's a lot of scenarios where that's applicable, where it's like, let's lead with curiosity instead of judgment.
mhm.
I guess I struggle saying that too, because I'm like, even the curiosity, like, why is it your business? It's not.
Sure.
But I guess
Well, I guess
depending on the relationship, let's say it's like you and me,
yeah,
I'm gonna make it my business, okay? But but I won't judge you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess when I say curiosity, I mean curiosity about the person that you care for and their experience. What are they experiencing in their own life, and how is their choice benefiting them? It's
Mhm.
super rare that humans make decisions that they're excited about and then share them with others, and they didn't have some joy and excitement or healing along the way. If we're talking about somebody who's living in a season of grief or post loss,
Mhm.
and that can be all kinds of things. And I think that's where we get in a bit of a conundrum, because we're in this specific scenario, we're talking about someone who lost their husband
Mhm.
in a traumatic way, to suicide. But there are individuals who lose their partner or their spouse to a medical illness or to divorce, or you know a number of circumstances. And so I think also where you're coming from is like there is this societal reflection of, oh, well, why are you moving on so fast? Or what about this? The reality is it's not our business, and we don't know everyone's circumstance. And some people are in relationships for a very, very long time and they're very, very lonely. And
Yeah.
then there is something that happens and they're able to move on from that relationship. And so it's really not something we should assume or pretend like we have any working knowledge. Like, well, I know what was going on for you, and I can't believe you're doing all these things in this timeline. It's kind
Yeah.
of silly. It's like a waste of our energy versus saying, how are you doing? Tell me more about this. I can't believe you have this person in your life. What are they like? Um, and I want to be that type of person in people's lives. And I think that keeps people in relationship. Because if you make someone feel like you've got a lot of opinions and you're gonna be blaming or shaming them,
I don't want that.
they're not gonna yeah, they're gonna back away from you.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that is generalizable to a lot of different things, but specifically when we talk about other people making choices in their own life, if it's not hurting you, be kind and be curious.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Very well said. And while you were saying that, I was thinking too, like, of this concept of like high school dating, right? Or like, I
Mhm.
guess it would go after that of a rebound where they say like
Okay,
you
yeah,
and went into this other relationship, right? And
yes.
so I'm sitting here thinking, so what's the timeline on not a rebound? Do you need a month between? Do you need 2 months? And the way I would assume it is like the worse the breakup or the longer the relationship or the more drastic the loss, the longer time somebody expects you to have in between,
Mhm.
right? So
I can see
I
that for sure.
almost, yeah, I almost think of it as being like the adult version of like people considering it like a rebound or like assuming somebody's not like emotionally ready.
Mm,
But and I don't know if either of us can speak to kind of like the psych behind that, and maybe you can, but the other thing I'm thinking is like, okay, well, I also think in grief, there's a lot of times you become very vulnerable and maybe
yeah.
you can actually build an even stronger relationship with someone because you're being so authentic because you have this sense of like I've already lost something so big like I don't really have much to lose like what do I have to lose by like being authentically me or being open with them about my emotions and how I'm feeling. And at least I would say that for me, like I've changed so much since William died in my vulnerability
Mm,
and my willingness to like feel and share certain things. And I would imagine that that would open me up to being in a better relationship, a more healthy relationship because
yeah.
I'm
Well, and I
better.
think you've shared that in other episodes where you've talked about just you learning how to be vulnerable without being given really the choice, right? I think
Mhm.
grief pushes people into vulnerability that they are not expecting.
Yeah.
And I think you chose when you found yourself in that circumstance to pursue therapy. And then you've shared how that has benefited your life and your marriage and your parenting and your relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that's the benefit where when we start to say, yes, there's going to be pain and difficulty and uncertainty and grief, but there's also going to be some good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to look different for everyone and it's not linear. And so I think that is just important to hold in our minds as we keep this kind of general category of grief that it's going to be different for everyone, but there can be good and there can be difficulty. And I like your analogy of taking it back to high school. I think we probably all have these unspoken, like, well, it probably shouldn't be like that. And I'm not saying, you know, don't share concerns, but do it in love
Mhm.
and kindness. And if you lead with judgment, you're probably going to push someone away. If you lead with curiosity, they'll stay for a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is such a good takeaway from this and from for America. I hope all of America listens to this and everyone who commented on that. Maybe you know what I'll do is I'm going to go back to her post to everyone that commented about the timeline. I'm going to put the link to this
Oh,
episode and we're going to see if maybe they'll move forward with
oh my
curiosity
gosh,
and
we're going to blow up. We're going to go viral.
here's hoping. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I love this. Thank you for digging into that. I
Yeah,
maybe this was like the therapy I needed because I was just so
you're
worked up about
welcome.
the situation. But yes,
Yeah,
I think it applies to people on every level. And I think we all have work to do on leading with curiosity instead of judgment just in our daily lives and the situations that our friends and family go through and decide to be vulnerable and share with us. So I hope that's something that everybody can take away from this. And for those of you listening, maybe for the first time, thank you for being here. You guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and hopefully Apple by now. I need to go double
yeah.
check. Every time I checked, we were just MIA on Apple, but
We're coming,
hopefully we're
Apple.
there. So thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks. Bye.